estimated 50 to 80% of positions being filled through networking, focusing on creating connections should be an essential part of your job search strategy. But don't worry, it doesn't have to feel awkward or overwhelming. In this video, you're going to learn how to network without nerves and how you can use the connections made during your career break to help you learn, grow, and yes, possibly land a job. Hi, I'm Laura, and I'm here to take your job search from stressful to successful. And if you would like the free workbook that accompanies this entire series, then just check out the link below. Welcome to Module 4, which is all about creating connections. And this is vital to your job search. Now, you notice I didn't say networking because the word networking has one of those connotations that just make you start sweating just by hearing it. Or is that just me? I'm not sure, but I know that stresses me out. I picture going into a conference room of 100 people and I don't know anybody. So I stand there with my drink and I'm like, okay, I'm going to approach this group. And then I just stand there awkwardly as they're finished their conversation. And that is not what I want you to think about when you think about networking. Instead, I want you to think about truly connecting with people. In fact, I like to think of it like this. Networking is about knowing more people, while connecting is about knowing people more. And networking, connecting, whatever you want to call it, is pivotal for you to have a successful job search. And it's even more important when you're looking to either pivot careers or return from a career break, or heck, even do both, because when you truly connect, that is when you get to learn about new industries, learn about other people's journeys, learn about companies. And when you start making those connections, it's going to be way easier to ask like, oh, do you know about any opportunities, or put me in touch with somebody who does. And as much as you might not want to hear this is going to be something that is going to be an ongoing process. The worst thing you can do is wait until you need to be networking to start networking. It is something you should be doing through the entirety of your career. Here are why connections are so important. While there is no exact number, it's estimated that 50 to 80% of positions are filled through recommendations. So even if it's on the lower side at 50%, that is a huge number. Half of positions are filled through recommendations. And that's because people hire people. And if you have a connection to that person, of course, they're going to be more apt to interview you, to learn more about you. Think about it like this. Let's say you wanted to go to an Italian restaurant for dinner. You could go online and just type in best Italian restaurants near me, and you'd be met with a lot of options. But you'd have to go through, look at each menu, look at the reviews, look at the photos. And that is one way. But if you had a good friend say, hey, I know you'd love this Italian restaurant, that's going to make your life a lot easier because your friend knows you and your friend can speak to the experience that they had at the Italian restaurant. Now, the same can be said about the hiring process. Recruiters are just inundated with hundreds of resumes per position that they have to sift through. But if they have somebody come to them and say, hey, I know this great person, they would be a wonderful fit for this position, here's their resume, heck yeah, they're going to reach out to them before the stack of tens or hundreds of other resumes. And that's why recommendations and connections are gold. And with all that being said, I know that there are some common objections to networking. So we're going to break each of those down. Objection number 1 is, I don't know anybody. Objection number 2 is, I don't want to bother people. And objection number 3 is, I don't know what to say. So let's tackle each of those head on. Objection number 1 is, I don't know anybody. And this is a common objection. And whenever I hear that, my first question is, okay, well, who have you reached out to? And a lot of the time I hear back, well, I reached out to my friend here or my sister or my cousin. And I'm like, okay, that is a very small bubble around you. And that's where a lot of people focus and where a lot of people stop, is their most inner circle, because it's safest, it's easiest. But if you are going to get different results than the average job seeker, then you are going to do things differently. you are going to expand your network. You are going to get comfortable with putting yourself out there. Now, I like to look at there being 3 different buckets. One is your personal circle. Those are friends, family, parents that you run into at school a lot. Heck, even your hairdresser, your cashier, those people that you see on a regular basis and have a personal connection to. And then you have your professional bucket. Those are former coworkers, people that you have volunteered with in the past mentors, professors, bosses. And then you have the huge bucket of your community. Community could be your actual neighbors in your community. They can be online community. They can be organizations. The list is really endless. And I'm going to give you a few examples of my personal experience that shows you that there is an unlimited amount of options out there. My first story is when I was getting my nails done, and this is about a year ago, and I was chatting with another person who was also getting her nails done, and we were talking about women returning back to the paid workforce after career break. Turns out she was the CEO of a company, and her initiative was to actually bring in women that had a career break. Well, it turned out I had just started my career relaunch workshop. And so we had a wonderful conversation. Now, I will admit I did things wrong because I didn't even get her contact information at the nail salon. But what I did do is a couple days later, I did some internet research and I found her email because I knew where she worked. I knew her name. And I reached out to her. I simply said, I really enjoyed our conversation. I've been thinking about our discussion, and would you have some time to meet to further discuss? And she said yes. Another example is from a book. Yes, a book. I was reading a book about career pauses, and there was somebody mentioned in the book who had started a company that sounded very interesting to what I was doing. And I wanted just to know how she ended up getting to where she's at. So I found her once again online, sent her an email. She also said yes. So do not limit yourself because you think that other people will say no. You have to put yourself out there. And objection number 2 is, I don't want to bother people. Well, there's a book called The 2-Hour Job Search by Steve Dalton, and he breaks down the 3 buckets that people generally fall into when you reach out to them. One are the boosters, and these are the people that are excited to help you, will respond right away and are like, yes, let's meet. These are gold. And the second group of people are obligates. And they feel obligated in some way to get back to you, not necessarily because they want to, but out of obligation. And if they get back to you, they might just keep punting you down the road, like, okay, reach out to me in a couple weeks. And a couple weeks comes and like, reach out to me in a couple more weeks. It's not a good time. Or if they do meet with you, they might not really be truly invested and they're just like, okay, I have got to get this over with. But here's the thing, they still might offer some value. And the third bucket, which is what turns off a lot of people, are the curmudgeons. But the worst thing is they just don't get back to you. Normally, people aren't going to reply back with a nasty email. They'll simply ghost you. And that's just parts of the process. You want to focus on the boosters. And whenever you reach out to people, you're just going to have to bake in the fact that some people aren't going to get back to you, or some people might not be willing to help in the way that you had thought. And that is perfectly okay. And objection number 3 is, I don't know what to say. But here's the thing, you do know what to say because you already know what you're hoping to learn from that person. And you do know what to say, you just need to learn how to frame it. And that is easier than you think. So first of all, you shouldn't be writing a novel. Think about it. If you received an email from either somebody you didn't know or barely knew and it was really long, what would you do? Would you read it right then? Or you're like, probably I'll just get back to it. And then do you actually get back to it? So keep it short in the sense that you say what you need to say, but you don't add a lot of fluff. And you should always start off with, of course, who you are, and then bring in something personal. If you have a connection point, add that in. But if you don't know them personally or have somebody in common, even saying something like, oh, I read your article on X. I've passed it along to some of my friends who would really enjoy learning about this. that not only shows a personal connection, it also shows you add value to them because you've taken their work and you've passed it along to others. And there are other ways to tie that in if it's not necessarily an article. And from there, just get to the point. If you did have something you wanted to learn from them, be specific. I know you are a top researcher in this field. It's a field I'm looking to go into. I would love to hear about your career journey. And always remember to add a call to action. A lot of times I see these type of emails just left hanging, kind of like, look forward to hearing back from you. No, put it on them to respond back. Even saying, I would love to set up some time to talk. I'm available on these dates. Would you have availability then? You're ending it on a question that then they are more likely to respond to. And always remember to not make it solely about using them to get a job. So the one thing I don't want you to do is be like, here's my resume. I want this job. Can you forward it over to the recruiter? I mean, obviously, if you have a very strong relationship with them and that's something you're comfortable doing, that's a different story. But generally, if you don't, you're going to want to stay away from that. Instead, you're going to want to make it about making a true connection. It's not about using somebody for a one-off opportunity. Now, let's say they respond back and say, yes, I'd love to meet. Great. You now have an informational meeting. Keep these short. Now, I say keep them short because generally they're going to go longer anyway, but you want to respect their time. So starting off by saying you have 15 or 30 minutes is perfect. And I've had many of these meetings go way longer, but at that point, we've already established that rapport and they have agreed by sitting there and continuing to talk that they are willing to go longer. Also, go in with the intent to learn. You want to learn from them, whether that is about an industry you're looking to pivot into, a company that you're looking to possibly be employed by, their experience with their own journey. Go in wanting to learn, not just talk about yourself. Yes, that will organically happen, and they're probably going to ask questions about you and your journey, but don't just lead with, here's everything I'm about, and not let them talk at all. And when the meeting is done, follow up with them. Thank them for their time. Mention a takeaway that you had. And once you've established that relationship, they're most likely going to want to know how your career journey is progressing. If they had any hand in helping you get one step closer to where you want to go career-wise, of course, they're going to want to know. So keep them up to date. As you build your network and cultivate these connections, there are a few things I want you to keep in mind. And the first is, this does not have to be awkward. As humans, we thrive off of connection. People genuinely want to help other people. And remember, as you continue to cultivate these connections, it's just going to get easier and easier because people are going to put you in touch with other people who will put you in touch with other people. And so it's not going to feel as awkward because you're already going to have that entrance point. And remember not to limit yourself. This is a mistake I see so often, and that's that people put a bubble around themselves. They think, well, these are the people I know, and I'm not going to go beyond it. But here's the thing. Research has shown that weak ties can be even more beneficial in your job search because they can offer insights in areas that you might not have access to otherwise. So get outside your comfort zone and reach out to people that you might not have thought about because they weren't in your personal space. And next is give. Don't just take. You are wanting to learn. You are wanting ins at companies, but it looks kind of bad if you're just taking and taking. And it's not that hard to offer people value. From the article sharing to offering to connect them with somebody that might be beneficial for them. There are a ton of ways that you can give. And it can be as simple as a compliment to them. But when you have people feel as though they are seen and not just used, you're going to have much better results. And finally, be the type of person to others that you want for yourself. And this goes pretty much for all aspects of life, but also with networking. If there's somebody that you can help, that you can give knowledge to, then do it. And here's my action item for you. I want you to create a list of 10 people that you can reach out to that will get you one step closer to what it is that you're looking for. If it's career clarity right now, then reach out to people who can get you one step closer. Or if you are actively looking to work at a certain company, then find those people who can get you one step closer to them. But here's the thing. I don't want you to just make the list. I also want you to send out emails to each one and then set up your first meeting. All right, I'll see you over in Module 5.